Imagine hearing that a liberal talk show host and comedian was so enraged by the actions of ISIS that he'd recorded and posted a video in which he shouts at them for 10 minutes, cursing the fanatical terrorists and calling them utter savages with savage values. If I heard that, I'd be kind of surprised. It doesn't fit my model of what liberal talk show hosts do. But the story I'm actually referring to is liberal talk show host / comedian Russell Brand, making that same rant against Fox News for supporting war against the Islamic State, adding at the end that Fox is worse than ISIS. That fits my model perfectly. You wouldn't celebrate Osama's death, only Thatcher's, and you wouldn't call ISIS savages, only Fox News. Fox is the Outgroup. ISIS is just some random people off in a desert. You hate the Outgroup. You don't hate random desert people. I would go further. Not only does Brand not feel much like hating ISIS, he has a strong incentive not to. That incentive is, the Red Tribe is known to hate ISIS loudly and conspicuously. Hating ISIS would signal Red Tribe membership, would be the equivalent of going into Crips territory with a big Bloods gang sign tattooed on your shoulder. But this might be unfair. What would Russell Brand answer if we asked him to justify his decision to be much angrier at Fox than ISIS? He might say something like, "Obviously, Fox News is not literally worse than ISIS, but here I am, talking to my audience, who are mostly white, British people and Americans. These people already know that ISIS is bad. They don't need to be told that any further. In fact, at this point, being angry about how bad ISIS is less likely to genuinely change someone's mind about ISIS, and more likely to promote Islamophobia. The sort of people in my audience are at zero risk of becoming ISIS supporters, but at a very real risk of Islamophobia. So ranting against ISIS would be counterproductive and dangerous. On the other hand, my audience of white British people and Americans is very likely to contain many Fox News viewers and supporters. And Fox, while not quite as evil as ISIS, is still pretty bad. So here's somewhere I have a genuine chance to reach people at risk and change minds. Therefore, I think my decision to rant against Fox News and maybe hyperbolically say they were worse than ISIS is justified under the circumstances. I have a lot of sympathy to hypothetical Brand, especially to the part about Islamophobia. It does seem really possible to denounce ISIS's atrocities to a population that already hates them in order to weak-man a couple of already marginalized Muslims. We need to fight terrorism and atrocities, therefore it's okay to shout at a poor girl 10,000 miles from home for wearing a headscarf in public. Christians are being executed for their faith in Sudan, therefore let's picket the people trying to build a mosque next door. But my sympathy with Brand ends when he acts like his audience is likely to be fans of Fox News. In a world where a negligible number of Redditors oppose gay marriage and 1% of less wrongers identify conservative, and I know 0 out of 150 creationists, how many of the people who visit the YouTube channel of a well-known liberal activist with a Che-inspired banner, a channel whose episode names are things like War, What Is It Good For, and Sarah Silverman Talks Feminism? How many of them do you think are big Fox News fans? In a way, Russell Brand would have been braver taking a stand against ISIS than against Fox. If he attacked ISIS, his viewers would just be a little confused and uncomfortable, whereas every moment he's attacking Fox, his viewers are like, ha ha, yeah, get him, show those ignorant bigots in the Outgroup who's boss. Brand acts as if there are just these countries called Britain and America who are receiving his material. Wrong. There are 2 parallel universes and he's only broadcasting to one of them. The result is exactly what we predicted would happen in the case of Islam. Bombard people with images of a far-off land they already hate and tell them to hate it more, and the result is ramping up the intolerance on the couple of dazed and marginalized representatives of that culture who have ended up stuck on your half of the divide. Sure enough, if industry or culture or community gets blue enough, Red Tribe members start getting harassed, fired from their jobs, Brendan Ike being the obvious example, or otherwise shown the door. Think of Brendan Ike as a member of a tiny religious minority surrounded by people who hate that minority. Suddenly firing him doesn't seem very noble. If you mix together Podunk, Texas, and Mosul, Iraq, you can prove that Muslims are scary and very powerful people who are executing Christians all the time, and so we have a great excuse for kicking the one remaining Muslim family, random people who never hurt anyone, out of town. And if you mix together the open source tech industry and the parallel universe where you can't wear a free BSD shirt without risking someone trying to exorcise you, you can prove that Christians are scary and very powerful people who are persecuting everyone else all the time. And you have a great excuse for kicking one of the few people willing to affiliate with the Red Tribe, a guy who never hurt anyone, out of town. When a friend of mine heard Ike got fired, she didn't see anything wrong with it. "I can tolerate anything except intolerance," she said. Intolerance is starting to look like another one of those words like white and American. "I can tolerate anything except the Outgroup." Doesn't sound quite so noble now, does it?